Am I the asshole for wanting steak on my birthday? I invited a few work friends and some non-work friends to my birthday party. It was a small party, just 9 people in total. I didn't invite one of my colleagues because I knew he was vegetarian, and I was worried he wouldn't enjoy it. Coincidentally, another colleague accidentally told him about the party. He then asked me outright if he could come. They had vegetarian options, salads, and appetizers, so there would be some things he could eat. At the last minute, he changed his mind, saying he didn't want to spend money any restaurant that sold any type of meat. He then accused me of deliberately choosing a steakhouse, saying it was basically a plan to get rid of him. I mean, it was my birthday, and it's my money, so I should be able to choose how I want to spend it. He chose not to spend his money at the steakhouse, even after asking me, and even after me informing him that there would be vegetarian options for him to eat. So am I the asshole for wanting to eat something even if it meant someone had to sit out? Not the asshole. I'm vegetarian. If I had a problem with other people eating meat or being around meat, I wouldn't join them for a meal. I certainly wouldn't ask to attend. I would never assume that others choosing to eat meat was an intentional scheme to exclude me. What an ego this guy has. Not the asshole that's so wild to criticize a party you weren't even originally invited to. Even if you didn't want him there, and he was right about what you were doing, you have the right to have your party the way you want it, people and place. And if it was that much of an issue, he should have said something outright instead of flaking last minute and causing a scene. Not the asshole. Get the food you want to get on your birthday. If you're a vegetarian and you don't want to eat meat, I'll respect that. If you tell me I can't have meat, I'll have a hot dog eating contest on your front lawn. This person is overstepping. Not the asshole. Your birthday, your choice. That's like ordering a pizza for the office with sausage because it's a popular topping and someone accusing you of leaving them out because they don't like it. Not the asshole for picking a steakhouse. You are the asshole for not inviting him just because he's vegetarian. As you said, they have other options. He's really upset because you purposely didn't invite him due to his life choice. Not the asshole. He got his testicles all in a tizzy about not being invited to a restaurant he doesn't even want to eat at. If he doesn't like the restaurant choice, he can go pout in a corner with the drama llama he rode in on. Am I the asshole for holding a grudge that I was uninvited to my boyfriend's mother's funeral? Me F35 and my boyfriend M42 are from the same country, but met overseas. We have been together 5 years and lived together. I did not meet his parents until year 4. He always had excuses such as distance, timing, and that his mom had dementia and it would be too hard on her to meet new people. By the time I finally met her, her dementia had progressed and she disliked me immediately, which devastated me. I felt it had been left too late for us to form a bond. My partner is difficult. He values his privacy over connection and often puts up emotional roadblocks. His mom passed away last month. I assumed I would be at the funeral to support him. He flew home earlier to see her, and I booked a flight after. The day before the funeral, I asked for details, and he told me, maybe it's best you don't go. He said I barely knew his dad and had not met the extended family, so it was not the right setting. I said I wanted to support him, not anyone else. He went back and forth before finally telling me late at night not to come because he preferred to deal with things alone. I was devastated. On the day I sent him a kind message, he thanked me, but I did not hear from him until evening. The next day he said, I made the right choice not having you there. It would have been too stressful. He also said he had spoken to friends and family who agreed. Finding out his friends were there broke me even more. It has been 3 weeks and I cannot shake it. I already feel like I am low on his list, below friends, family, nights out. Being excluded from one of the hardest days of his life feels like confirmation. For clarity, I have never suspected cheating. A week later I did spend a few days with his dad and met some of his friends, so I do not think he was hiding me. He has never seemed interested in female attention and prefers being with his male friends. Part of me wonders if I am being selfish. Should I just be compassionate and accept that grief makes people act differently? Or am I justified in feeling pushed out and hurt? Hun, I'm going to hold your hand while I say this. This man is not in love with you. The red flag is flying high and clear. Your gut is screaming loud to you as well. Please see and listen to them. He may be your BF, but you are definitely not his GF. Time to close that door and move on. No need to hold a grudge. He does not deserve such free real estate in your mind. Know your worth. Not the asshole. Why would you be with someone who doesn't want you around? He doesn't sound like he likes you. Like it all. It's okay to be single. Life is too short to live with someone and force yourself to pretend they like you. Move on. Not the asshole. Huge red flag. Not the asshole at all. 5 months. Maybe I could get on board with his position. But 5 years, totally different. This isn't a forever relationship for him. The fact that you flew there, and he only told you after you were there, is absolutely wild. I have been on Reddit too long, because my first thought was that he's married with a whole other family. Who doesn't meet their SO's family for 4 years? In moments of pain is when we rely on the people we love the most. I'm very sorry, dear, but it seems you are a convenience for him at the moment, which is why he still keeps you at bay until something better comes along. I highly suggest moving on. You already spent many years with him. What do you have to show for it? Go find the one that will want to hold your hand through every ebb and flow of life. You deserve it. Am I the asshole for calling my husband an FN-a-holy? Edit title should read, a FN-a-holy. This just happened. I'm still fuming, but I need to know if I was in the wrong for calling him that. I was working out in our basement home gym, in the middle of a heavy set doing legs. My husband called out to me from the top of the stairs. I told him, hang on, so I could finish the set. He kept calling me. Again I said 1 second. When I finished and made my way back upstairs, no more than 30 seconds later from when he first called out to me, he was just annoyed and angry with me because I was apparently ignoring him. So I explained to him that I was in the middle of a heavy set, so I couldn't speak right away, but I did respond, hang on. He kept brushing me off and ignoring me. So I told him normally when someone is working out you wait until they're done the set to talk to them. His response to that was to be dismissive as if that wasn't really a thing, and was mocking me. My husband does not work out, so I didn't expect him to know this. So after he was talking to me like I was stupid, I just had enough and said, seriously, you're mad at me because you were talking to me while I was lifting a heavy set. You're being a f***ing-a-holy. He obviously didn't appreciate that and blew up. Now he's left the house, and I'm pretty annoyed still. He was being one. That's how I felt, so I called him it. Am I wrong? Edit. It was suggested to add this comment into the original post. Yes, we both jokingly refer to myself as a bitch all the time because I'm not great with expressing my feelings. Grew up with Asian parents. I'm kind of cold and call out things as they are. I don't usually ever call him names. However, there was one time I didn't like how he was speaking to me, so I asked him why he was being a dick to me. I guess he realized that he was and changed his tone. Last edit. We talked when he got home. I apologized for saying he was an FN-a-holy. I asked him what happened before it got to that. Why was he so angry before I even got upstairs? He said was upset because when he shouted my name at the top of the stairs, he was expecting a yes or a what. I told him I already said hang on and one SEC. He did not want to hang on though. He wanted me respond immediately so that he could ask me if I had fed the dogs yet. I told him I thought I was being reasonable/respectful in that I wanted to finish my set first so I could make my way upstairs to give him my attention. This is very much unlike him. Usually he'd just walk downstairs if he called me, and I didn't respond. We've both apologized. Things are still a little tense, so we're just going to chill out separately around the house until we're both completely cooled down. My husband does not work out, so I didn't expect him to know this. This has nothing to do with working out. If I call my wife and she says just a second, I assume she's in the middle of something. If it's an emergency and I really can't wait, I will reply with the kitchen's on fire, or significant other much blood, or something. But if I don't say that, I would expect her to finish up what she's doing and then come over. Not the asshole. Sets or no sets. Hang on a minute means you heard him, but you're in the middle of something. Tell him you're not his mommy who drops everything when he whines. If it was urgent or super important, he could have gone all the way down into the basement to talk to her, instead of yelling "fair her" at the top of the stairs and expecting her to literally drop what she's doing and attend to him. Not the asshole. I am not your dog or your child. Do not expect that I'm going to come running just because you call. Info. Why couldn't he come down and say what he had to say? I have a very simple and practical rule in my house. If you want to talk to me, come and talk to me. You do not just shout out my name repeatedly from another room expecting to summon me to ask what you want. It's not that hard to walk down and up the stairs or into another room. Anyone who thinks that they can just stand in another place and shout your name repeatedly expecting you to drop whatever you are doing to come see what they want is a fucking asshole. AITA. Pulled out some kids' fishing line on a public beach. This happened at a public beach in Texas. The water here is very shallow, and you can walk quite a ways without reaching any deeper than maybe 4 or 5 feet. I was walking with my sister maybe 200-300 feet from shore. We are both adults. At this time the beach was crowded enough that there were no public cabanas left, and you could not walk more than 20-30 feet without passing another party of beach-goers. I felt something brush across my chest that felt like fishing line, but didn't think much of it. Then my sister lifts a section of line out of the water with kind of a perplexed expression. At this time there were plenty of people fishing, but they walked way out past the swimmers. My first thought was someone lost their line, and I should see if I can coil it up and toss it. After I had coiled about 30 feet around my arm, I was pretty sure it was intentional, but still had no clue what it was. I start walking back to shore. I'm guessing I had maybe 300 feet of line in my hand by the time I got to the surf. There was definitely something on the end, but I hadn't pulled it up yet. At this time, here's what I was thinking. Whatever this is, it was obviously intentional, but since the beach was crowded with families and kids, I was 50-50 on whether it was something that someone forgot to pull in or someone was going to start yelling at me. Either way, whatever it was multiple hundreds of feet of fishing line drifting across a huge swath of public beach. Conclusion, I didn't think this was safe, so I erred on the side of see something, say something, and made the decision to pull it in and deal with any consequences later. Sure enough, about 9 kids, maybe ranging from 8 to 13, came running over yelling at me to stop. At about this time I had just about found the end. I asked the kids if they knew what it was while proceeding to finish pulling it onto the beach. It was their fishing line. At the end was a 3-4 foot section of line with several pieces of cut-up fish on large hooks. I didn't look closely at it, and do not fish. I returned the line to the kids. I told them this did not seem safe, considering how many people could be affected and how far this thing was drifting. A few of them ran over to attentive parents, presumably. I walked over and explained my reasoning. One of them said, we wouldn't be letting them do it if it wasn't allowed. The group as a whole did not seem eager to engage, and nobody said anything else. At this point, I was second-guessing the situation. I was not happy to be ruining a bunch of kids' fun, and if it was allowed, I was about to feel like an asshole. I still did not think it seemed safe, but then I don't fish at all or go to the beach very often. The kids gave me dirty looks for a while. The parents glanced over once in a while, but never came over to talk again. I spoke to a person at the office, and he said what I was describing was absolutely not allowed. Fishers were required to keep lines away from other people. Not the asshole. I just did a quick Google, and their line wasn't legal if it wasn't properly tagged. Texas Parks and Wildlife takes these things seriously, and those families were lucky TPNW wardens weren't out and about. I wonder if they even have fishing licenses. Not the asshole. That's so dangerous, to people and to wildlife. I was walking on a public beach in Florida, and came across a huge pelican freaking out and unable to fly away. It had gone for the bait on the hook and gotten it caught in its bill. The line was anchored in the sand, and the fisher person was nowhere to be found, so the poor pelican was stuck. Thankfully a dude nearby had some pliers in his pocket. I held the bird, and he pried out the hook. It flew away unharmed. I say not the asshole. With that many people in the water, those hooks are a serious safety hazard. Basic courtesy and safety logic says fish well beyond the crowds, and don't try to reel anything in if you have to pull a struggling fish through crowds of people. Not the asshole. Public beach in Texas, bait like that on hooks like that could have called in sharks or some big fish that would have gone for anyone standing near the bait, or even that looks like the food they smell. Add on all the swimmers and waders. Those hooks could have caught on someone and led to injuries. For young kids that found it, they could have played with it and had even bigger problems. Not the asshole. I grew up on Texas beaches, and surf fishing when the beach is packed is discouraged. If you hook someone, they tend to not react well. Plus, at my home beach the black tip shark and stingray population was large enough that encouraging them to hunt among swimmers was a real dick move. The kids were using a multi-hook rig too. WTF. You're lucky you didn't take that rig to the leg or foot. Next time call the TX Parks and Wildlife Game Warden to see if they'll come out. Fish cops are usually fairly chill about educating kids and idiot families about how to avoid a fist fight with a beer-drunk sunburned guy who wants to talk to you about the hook in his leg. Not the asshole at all. That was incredibly dangerous.